Nation, happy Friday. How we doing? Friday is my CEO day. It's been a busy CEO day. So in the morning, I try to spend the time working on my strategy for the business and content strategy for social media, and looking at my Instagram content, my YouTube content, my clubhouse content, looking at my team, expanding the team, building, growing. So that's the morning. And then the afternoon, I usually spend Fridays trying to help the people in my circle, in my network, try to be a person of value, try to stay on people's radar, try to see how I can help contribute to what people are doing. Zane man, welcome aboard in the chat. I got a special surprise for you, Zane, actually. Tonight, I'm going to tell you, on top of all the other stuff that we're doing, I got you have a special assignment this weekend. Stay tuned. But I see this is my break in between work, so we're going to bring and see how we can bring some value today. Paul, I just sent you an invite. Here we go. Let's go, Paul. Come on. We see a whole bunch of people joining. Hey, Evan. What's up? Welcome. Hey, Karen. Hey, Gay. Hey, Success Profiling. Hello from Barbados. Amazing. That's amazing. Productivity with Anna. Hey, there he is. Paul, how you doing?
I'm good, Evan. Feels like I just saw you recently.
I know, right? Paul just joined my Brandlytics training, which is helping people do well on YouTube and then take that content to go everywhere else. And we did a channel breakdown for him. Was that yesterday?
That was so great.
That was yesterday. Oh my gosh, that was yesterday. Was that?
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much.
Was it helpful?
Oh, so great, so great. And some of it, because I have been watching your other channel breakdowns you did. I'm gonna adjust this. I feel like I'm like way down here. Some of it I knew was coming, but then there's always, every time I watch you, man, I just learn. It's not even like I learned one thing. There's always a couple things I'm like, and I'm so glad I made that year commitment, because I'm like, at the end of this year, my channel's gonna be in such a better place. It's gonna be awesome.
I love it, man. I love it. And thank you for being kind of our little guinea pig for the session. So we had 45 minutes of a deep dive into Paul's channel with everybody in Brandlytics kind of watching along and joining on the journey. And sometimes that's hard to see, especially with other people watching. But no, you were great. And then we did 45 minutes of Q&A. But we've got this time, extra time together. What else can I kind of bring value to you, or things that you're considering, whether it's YouTube or something else?
Well, there's two things I was like, man, if I'm learning this much already from him about YouTube, I was like, I'm going to try to sneak a little bit beyond YouTube. Because I know from watching your stuff that one of your things that you've said over and over again you're really good at is scaling. And I've been in business for 17 years, and I've just been a one-person business the whole time. I do some Fiverr, right? You do some outsourcing and stuff, but it's always really just been me. And I was so focused on sort of staying in my lane with my business and just trying to manage my day-to-day that I really never even thought for most of those years about scaling. But one of the things I've come to understand is I have so many things I want to do, and I have so many ideas that I think are good ideas. And I'm like, the only way I'm going to get as much done as I want is if I can scale. And so I was like, I know that there's a lot there, but like, how do I even start thinking really about scaling?
So you scale through automation and you scale through team, and ultimately, you'll need both. If you look at what I'm doing now, we've got 30 something people on the team. So that's what allows me to get a lot of stuff out. We couldn't make 10,000 videos by myself.
Right.
So I think the thing that you need to figure out is ultimately what's the business model going to be for the ideas. So what I love doing is, at the beginning, I like doing things myself. I love starting projects. I like testing it. And then the goal is, can I get this far enough by myself to turn it into a path to profitability that then I can work myself out of the equation and hand over to team?
Okay.
So if you take any of these, like, what's one of the ideas that you have that you'd love to scale and work on?
All right. So I told you yesterday, I actually have 3 channels, right? And the one is the original. It goes all the way back to 2006. That's when I was more entertainment focused. The third channel, the most recent channel, is barely functional at all, because I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. Like, what I've noticed in this industry beyond the entertainment side, hypnotism, people who want to help people quit smoking or lose weight or whatever, there's so many applications. Like Evan, I used hypnosis in a woman's brain surgery once. You know, like, there's so many ways that hypnosis can help people. And in our industry, everybody's in their own silo. Like, there's this real cultural thing in our industry of, like, you open your practice and you try to do everything you can yourself. And so what's really happened that I've seen is hypnotists end up they're all sort of saying what I said to you to open this up today. Like, they're all just wearing so many hats that they're not having the reach they could have. They're not helping as many people. And so I was like, my third channel is all around this idea that I'm still trying to sort out of, like, what if I built a network of hypnotists and said, just stop trying to do it all yourself and just be good at the one thing you're really good at. And let's form a network of hypnotists and aggregate all of our audiences that we have and all of our people that we have and put them in one place so that we can all help more people. So what I'd like to really do is build this sort of, I don't know if it's really a company on its own or if it's just a project, but I really want to make a place where all these hypnotists come together and say, I'm not going to worry that Evan's getting my clients that I could have for golf hypnosis, because really that's not my passion, and I'm going to just stop doing that. I'm going to focus on what makes me happy to work with people and just try to help as many people in this one thing.
So, that's very personality driven. Like, some people are in the competition mindset and some people are in the cooperation mindset. And so the goal with that is you got to find the people who are in the cooperation mindset to come together and not try to convince the people who see what you're doing and say, well, why would I ever talk to Paul? He's my biggest competitor. You know, you don't have to go and try to convince them. I think the best model for that is, instead of worrying yet about what the big company looks like and how just set up a Zoom call for everybody. And this is what Brendan Burchard is so great at, where last year he invited me to his home in Puerto Rico with all of his friends to meet up. And we've done almost a monthly Zoom call together since then, especially during pandemic. People aren't traveling. And it's a check-in to see how we're doing. The first one was a big one where we spent 3 days together. The other ones have been maybe 3 hours together, where people are sharing, hey, what are you up to? How can I help? And so Brendan becomes the filter for who gets in the group, right? So we all have heard of each other or know each other for the most part, but like, oh, you're in this group because you got Brendan Burchard's seal of approval. Yeah. And so it's his job to filter in the right people who are of a cooperative mindset. And so if you look at the initiatives that we've done, like Jamie Carlina, who's in the group, comes out with her book. Everybody's promoting the book, right? Everybody in the group, like, let's all go on Clubhouse and promote her. Let's all have her on our shows and promote her. To even something as more personal of, Trent Shelton, who's also in the group, his daughter earlier this week went to the hospital because she got hit in the head with a rock from a lawnmower and is in the ICU, and he was asking for prayers. And so everybody in the, not everybody, but a good chunk of the group is posting content, say, hey, I posted one last night. If you got extra room in your heart, send it to Trent. Here's what's going on. And then just more love and outpouring for that. And so everybody who's in the group is in a cooperative mentality. Trent Shelton is not my competitor. Brendan Burchard is not my competitor. Tony Robbins is not my competitor. Right. We all are trying to help people, and we all have a unique way of doing it. The same kind of approach that you're looking at. And some people will be of that mindset, but there are other people in this industry who see like, I'm not going to share my secrets with Evan because he's going to steal them and use it for, right? Where some people are like, hey, no, this is so it's just a mindset difference. So what I would do for you is maybe that becomes a business, that becomes a mastermind, that becomes a paid thing, that becomes, a lot of business will end up happening just from people knowing each other. I'm about to announce a partnership that I'm doing with Brendan on something that he asked me to join him on, that came as a result of just getting to know him through, this group. So what I would do is look at, Like who are the top 5 to 10 people who you already know in the industry, who you already know are of the more cooperative mindset? Like, could you come up with 5 to 7 to 10 people already?
Yeah, definitely. I've been in the industry long enough that I know, so I have to sort of sit with, is this just like a fear thing on my own, like a fear mindset? But I feel like my industry is really, so we had someone who did a survey about 7 years ago. It was a cool deal, like a survey, and like 80% of hypnotists make less than $30,000 a year. So there's this real, like, there's the haves and the have-nots, and there's like nothing in between, and so there seems to be, I don't know how I'll get my head around this, but there seems to be a real thing of like, if you're a have, you sort of just stick on your own thing, like you know each other, you see each other at conventions, you hug each other and you genuinely mean it, but there's not a lot of collaboration. There's a little here and there, but there's not a lot of real collaboration that's happening like what you're describing. And if I could be that leader that could foster that, I would love to do that. I just got to try to figure out, like, how do you get that to happen when the industry just doesn't seem to think that way?
Well, no, don't blame the industry. Like, nobody's stood up and said, I'm going to lead this charge.
That's fair. Yeah.
And so what I would do is find the 5 to 7 to 10 people who you would like to spend more time with, who you vibe well with, who you think could contribute, right? Everybody's got something in our group. Everybody's got something to contribute. Dean Grazios is going to come and talk about his launch strategies, and I'm going to talk about YouTube strategies, and Jay Shetty's going to talk about meditation strategy. Like, everybody has their own. Nobody's only taking. Everybody's bringing. So Jay Shetty comes in and talks about mindfulness and meditation and guiding us through some exercises. And he comes up, he's like, guys, I'm launching my first book. I don't know anything. I'm a total newbie. And Dean and Brendan is like, we've sold millions of books. Right. Let's go. Right. And
Jay's book did all right.
Right. And so everybody has something to bring, and they're not just a taker. And it's the mindset, but also the skill set. So there's nobody wants to feel like they're only just giving, and they're not getting anything back from the group. So that's where it's combining the people, and that's a reflection of the leader. That's you. You're in charge of bringing in the right people. So what I would do is I would message today the 5 to 7 to 10 people who come to mind, who you would just like to hang out with, and say, you know what, it's been a tough go right now in this market. There's no shows happening. You need live demos to make it happen. And why don't we get together on a Zoom call, whatever's convenient for you? Let's do 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon and just talk about what we're doing and try to help each other out. And you just start off as one call.
Yeah.
And then hopefully you just do like hot seats. Hey, everybody gets 20 minutes. Go around the table, hot seats. And we're here for each other. So you can lead it because you're the leader, and say, here's what I'm struggling with. Here's a win that I got, but I'm struggling with X, and I'm now trying to focus more on my YouTube channel, right? And here's my goal for the next year to try to make it in the YouTube world. And then somebody might ask, well, how are you doing that on YouTube, Paul? That's super cool. I've thought about YouTube, right? And so you can give advice there. Maybe somebody else is doing virtual live shows, and that's what you're interested in, and you can learn from each other. So you get 20 minutes as you go around each person, and you just have it as that one-off thing. And what hopefully happens is, that was amazing. Like, Paul, dude, thank you so much. How do we, can we do that again? Should we do this every month? Should we do this every quarter? And business will end up happening between the members anyway, if you have the right people in the group. It just needs the person. There's nothing wrong with the industry. It just needs the person to connect those people together. Sure.
All right. Okay. All right. Is that all? Yeah, that's cool though. I get it.
Well, and I think that's super important. It's like, you've got the ambition and the drive and the bigger picture of, hey, I want to foster community here, and I want us to work together to help each other out, especially in a time like this where it's always been every man for themselves, but especially now, it's we could rally together and help each other out. great, but it's like, I don't know how to turn it into a business or what the structure is, or,
Right.
and so
Right.
that, like, it's almost too big an idea that then prevents action. But
Yeah.
like next weekend, you could be on a Zoom call with everybody, helping each other out, and see where that goes. Like, it's just, what
Right.
is the next step to actually make something happen? And I think
Yeah.
you'd be blown away if you get the right people in. You'd be blown
Yeah.
away by how much value and love. Like, it would not shock me if at least half the group says, I've wished this existed before too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul, for bringing us all together. It's not even about you. It's not like Paul is a genius and we're all going to go and learn from. It's we're collectively great at the things we're great at, and we can
Right.
teach each other, and we're not actually competitors. We can be great collaborators.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Let me shift gears a little bit with you, because the other thing I really wanted to ask you is, because I know, like, again, as I described myself before, I tend to be so focused in my profession, I'm not always looking outside of it. And I know you have this wealth of people that you touch and come across through all different industries. Like, you know, there seems to be a real feeling lately that, and I don't know if it's just a feeling or if it's real, but that people are sensing that maybe we're starting to get to a place where some momentum is building, and maybe people can start to feel like they don't have to just hide in their houses all the time, right? But you've probably been talking to people for the past year with all the changes that have gone on and all the crazy stuff that's happened. Like, is there like, for small business people, like, is there like some kind of is it going to be all about just trying to see how we can sort of get back to something that's almost like the way it used to be? Or do small business owners need to really fundamentally look at how we do business differently because of all this pandemic stuff and economy stuff? Like, are you looking, I guess, I'm sorry, I'm not being more articulate, but are you looking at just continuing to do what you've done well and explore new things? Or are you having any moments in the past year where you're like, man, we need to really look at just fundamentally doing business differently?
So a bit of both.
Yeah.
You know, I think people love connecting in person. So that's coming back.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to go back and do live shows, and I know we talked yesterday about interest level, and if you want to be the college entertainment guy or not, and that kind of stuff, but people will come back. People need the connection. People need the live shows. It will come back.
Yeah.
I look at this I have the largest salsa dancing studio in Toronto, in Canada, maybe North America. You know, we'll teach up to 5,000 people a year how to dance salsa, but
Wow.
it's the least friendly COVID business in the world, because you have to touch people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's less friendly than your live shows. You could do a live show socially distanced with 50 people in a giant room. You can't dance salsa without a partner.
Yeah.
Right? And it's strangers. That's why people are signing up. So, you know, the business has been decimated. Now, it's going to come back. Like, people still need connection. People will still want to learn how to dance. People will still want to meet people. It will come back. And so that I'm not so worried about. It's still a question of timing. I think it's taken a lot longer than anybody thought at the beginning, but it looks like we've got hope on the horizon, and it will come back. Though in the past year, it's forced a lot of businesses to go online much faster than they would have normally. The adoption of, like, everybody knows how to Zoom now, where a lot of people a year ago hadn't even heard of Zoom or what to do with Zoom or any of that. So now everybody knows what Zoom is. Everybody's used to doing meetings now. A lot of entrepreneurs are radically shifting their business where they don't want to go back to an office. I've had a lot of entrepreneurs talk to me and say, you know what? I thought I wanted an office. I thought I could never work from home and my team working from home. But now we've been doing it for a year, and it's actually amazing. So we're not going back. Like, I'd be concerned if I was a landlord that I'm losing a good chunk of my business, that people don't want to come back after it's all over. So it's thinking, okay, we're in this adjustment period where even at my dance school, we're doing online classes, So you're not dancing with somebody like that you can touch, but we're going to teach you a little routine and then put you into a breakout room to practice with somebody else from another part of the country, and you still get some kind of connection. That's been a pivot for us, and we're looking at continuing that even when COVID's over.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins is built his stage to do virtual events after saying he'd never do virtual events. Now he's like, what are you going to do? He has to do virtual events, or he's got nothing for a year and a half. So he built his own studio that then can also house people, so that once we get out of this, he's going to have both the virtual experience and the in-person experience. So
he won't do arenas anymore, you don't think? He won't go around and do arenas anymore?
Oh, I think he will, but I think he'll also do virtual.
It'll be also type of, okay.
Both.
Yeah.
Both. So everything that you've learned about going online and focusing on YouTube, keep doing that and do your original business. Yeah. So if you were back on stages and touring and doing that, but also focused on building your YouTube channel and doing online stuff, it just better supports the future of your business and hopefully brings more happiness, more like whatever you want to work on, you can work on, instead of having to be here at this date and then here on this date and spend so many days on the road if you don't want to do that anymore. Right. That makes sense. All right. That's it for me, man. That's great. It's enough. My head's already, I feel my head spinning a little bit. I'm like, well, listen, let me ask you, what's one change? Obviously, there's been a lot of negativity that's happened and a lot of adjustment, a lot of painful adjustments, but what's one change that has happened to you that you'd like to keep, assuming we go back to normal life? I like how it's been really interesting to me how when I started out in business for myself, I felt like the first and easiest way for me to get attention to what I do was to start that YouTube channel. And then how the more successful my business became, my entertainment business, the more I neglected that YouTube channel. And so now that everything is sort of flipped back again, it's been really interesting to me how I've been like, go back to YouTube. Like YouTube's work. I mean, we didn't talk about this yesterday, Evan, because I wanted to get right into you talking about my channel. But like, you saw my channel. I haven't put anything up on my channel in a year, but that channel, I've never run an ad. I've never done any of that stuff. That channel's made me a lot of money without using the monetization stuff. Like I got hired by Pepsi. I got hired by Bud Light. I got hired by Bud Light for, do you remember, there was a really cool Super Bowl commercial that was called Up for Whatever, where the guy goes in a bar and the bartender comes up to him and she says, he goes, I'll have a Bud Light, please. She goes, if I give you this Bud Light, do you take whatever comes with it? And he goes, yeah, sure. And when he takes it, then he meets Don Cheadle in an elevator and he plays ping pong with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And do you remember that commercial? Okay. No, but I don't watch football. You know what? So it was a Super Bowl commercial. It was a Super Bowl commercial that went viral. And it was really, really big. And when that commercial went viral, then the agency that was doing that stuff for Bud Light, they were like, all right, now what do we do? And so they decided, well, instead of like giving one person an amazing experience, let's give like a whole bunch of people an amazing experience. So they rented Crested Butte, Colorado, and they took over one street in the town and they threw a party for a whole weekend in the summertime when skiers weren't there. And they hired all these artists to be the entertainment. And so like I got hired to work the like greatest gig of my life because of my YouTube channel. Like they flew me out to Crested Butte. They let me bring a friend. I was hanging out with, there was like Vanilla Ice and Casey and the Sunshine Band, and like everyone you could think of was there doing this crazy weekend where they just partied all weekend and had it. Like that was all because of my YouTube channel. And for some reason, I sort of forgot about that and stopped paying attention to it. So I think the biggest thing for me now is like get back to just sharing. It feels good to share what I do with people and to let them have fun around seeing those videos. And I think definitely the YouTube is the biggest thing. And then extending from that, how do I
how do I take that same, like, all right, they're already getting to know me online, so how do I just keep getting to know them online? Like, I really am not so worried about going back. I'd like to do shows again in person. It's a lot of fun, but I'm happy to just connect like this because I can have an authentic conversation just like I'm having with you right now. Like, if I could do that with everyday people, that'd be great. That'd be fine.
And for everybody watching too, just for context, I mean, Paul's got 1.9 thousand subscribers on YouTube. So it's not like he's got 1 million subscribers and then Pepsi comes calling and Bud Light comes calling and everything else, right? I mean, you can, now it's not nothing. It's not 100 subscribers, you know, but it's a small channel. He's already getting big deals coming to him from there. Now imagine if he actually focused on putting more content up and doing the strategies. I mean, we looked at his channel yesterday and he was applying some of the thumbnail strategies that we talked about, and his watch time was up over 100%.
Yeah.
What was the number? Something like 150% or something like that.
Yeah.
He hasn't added a video in a year and his watch time is up 150% or something like that just by updating the thumbnails. So, you know, you've, and this is the power of YouTube. It's you and other people as well with a small base, just a little bit of strategy and some good execution. Are getting big clients. Now, if we actually focus on it, you know, you're going to have a lot of opportunities that you can then pick from, whether it's a live show, brand deals, consulting, coaching. I'm super pumped for you, dude. There's so much.
I'm so appreciative. Thank you. You were really awesome. I appreciate your time. It's really great. Thank you.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for joining me. So excited to see you in Brandlytics, and pumped to see what content comes out next. And make those calls today to find those 5 to 7 to 10 people to do your mastermind with, because I think that's going to be another potential world-changing experience for you.
Yeah, I will. Thank you so much, Evan. Be well.
All right. Much love, man. Cheers.
All right.